Y'all ever actually thought about some of the shit that ends up happening? Like, some of the shit that ends up happening is a little bit screwy. It's a little bit funny, a little bit awkward, a little bit unfair. Well, firstly, fair is not really a word that most people should be acquainted with. Because just because you think it might be fair, and others might think it might be fair, doesn't mean it necessarily is fair. But what really is fair? Fair could be justified by whether or not you got somebody who may think that fair is what might be fair to them might not be fair to you. Fair could be getting paid the same amount as somebody who works a lot harder than you. Is that accurate? All depends on the person. Fair could also be absolutely none of that, or it could be all of it. How you judge what fair is purely independent of what your definition of it is. Fair to some people, if they feel that they're not getting paid fairly, but they don't do any work, they could feel that they're being unfairly paid. Or you could end up doing all the work of the entire job and not really get compensated for what you are actually worth. Now, is that fair? Well, by somebody who doesn't really work that much, they might say that yes, that's fair. That somebody who just kind of got along by the skin of their teeth, they might say that yeah, that's fair. They earned as much as you did. But is that fair to everybody? All depends on your point of view. You could say it's fair, somebody else could say it's not fair. And whether or not it's fair or not, that ain't up to you or me or anybody else. What it basically comes down to is the employer, or at the end of the day, even the employer or the employee, they're not the ones who you should be worrying about whether or not they think it's fair, or you think it's fair, or anybody else thinks it's fair. It purely comes down to do you think that you are being paid adequately for the work that you're doing? If you are, then great. And you feel like you're being adequately paid for the work that you've put in, for the knowledge you've gained, and what you can put out, then yeah. If you are not getting paid that amount that you feel that is justified by what you have a certain skill set for, and the company chooses not to pay you to that aspect, then yeah, that's a bit unfair. But yeah, fair is not necessarily what everybody thinks it will be. Fair, like if you want to say, oh, it's fair to have somebody else pay for my bills, and it's fair for the government to pay for my bills, but I don't actually want to go out there and work. That could definitely be seen as unfair, because if you feel that the government should pay for your bills and the other people should pay for your bills and your mistakes and your this or that, then no, that's not really fair. If you haven't earned it, then you have earned nothing. If you haven't actually worked hard to actually get what you got, then you get what you get. If you end up getting some free shit, okay. Did you earn it? See, a lot of people end up where I'm a little bit going with this, and I'm going to try and wrap this up pretty quick. Some people feel that it's unfair that veterans end up being able to get a stipend. We'll call it that because people end up having their own names for it and whatnot, and it could be anywhere from good, bad, or the other, to where some people feel that it's unfair that veterans end up getting a disability check. Now, the disability people don't understand. It's not easy to do that. It's not even easy to be able to get signed off on that. Because just to even get the check, you have to have the evidence from doctors, multiple doctors, not just a few doctors, a lot of doctors. You already have to have that information either from when you were in the time in the military, or whether or not you actually saw some civilians and were able to actually and didn't fully realize that you had all those issues until you got out, then it's going to be even more difficult. If you already had all the medical records coming from the military, then it'll be a lot simpler. But you have to prove to the VA, the Veterans Affairs, that you were screwed up. Your body is jacked to the point of no return. You can't return back to a semblance of normal as you previously were. And that's where a lot of people have ended up getting a lot of things wrong, where basically the reason why you end up getting, like, it shouldn't really be disability. It's literally the same equivalent to workman's compensation. You are given you got injured during work, and now you're being compensated for the lack of work that you could potentially receive. Now, if you say have a debilitating mental issue, it could be where in certain settings you could be perfectly fine. You might be able to go to work, do your job as best as you know how, and actually get things accomplished. But it might also just be something as simple as your back is messed up. You might have had to have a surgery because the military just pushed it off. You may have had to wait several years for a civilian to take a look at it. And even when the civilians were getting close to the answer of what was going on with you, the military may say, "Oh, well, we're not going to spend that much money more on you. You're fine by our standards. We'll just put you through physical therapy for a couple more, for like 6 to 8 weeks, and then you'll be fine. You'll be back to be able to go back into training." And whether or not that should be, all depends on them. Like, they will determine whether or not they feel that you're necessary to do that. And this is all to say that for people who think that veterans just have it super easy and have it super well and have the easiest time, it's not as easy, because first of all, you're coming out of a very different people group back into a people group that you already didn't fit into. You're going back into the civilian sector, even separating from the military. You're going from civilian sector into the military. Like, before you join, you're in the civilian sector, and if you really don't fit in the civilian sector, you're going to go into the military. And especially if you can't figure out what you want to do with your life at that point, you're going to go on and join the military and serve honorably. As long as you do that, you'll be perfectly okay. You will end up learning a lot of things. You'll learn, you'll grow, you'll get better, or if you don't, you'll get worse and you'll get kicked out. And then Uncle Sam says, "Thank you for wasting our time. Goodbye." And then you got to figure out what to do then. But if it comes a time where you honorably serve and you end up actually getting out of the military, and you end up saying, "Uncle Sam, hey, I can't do it. I want to do something else for a living. I want to make a change." And you go and make that change, that's okay. It's no harm, no foul. Not everybody's designed or needs to be in the military for 20, 30, 40 years. Not everybody's cut out for that. Not everybody, and nobody should really be, like, scrutinized for. I've known people who they were only in for like 2 years. I've known them where they've been in for like 3 years. They've been in 2 years. They've been in 5 years. They've been in like 15 years and had to get out. They've been in for 20 years, and they were like, I kind of, like, the only reason I even asked them, a lot of them, "Well, why would you still stay in?" They're like, "Well, I'm already at 15 years. I can stick it out another 5." But some of the people who I saw where they were like, "I've been in for about 4 years with a 1 year extension, so 5 years. I've been in for 6 years with a 1 year extension, so 7 years. Or I've been in like 3 years and I medically health wise couldn't do it because of the damage that my body suffered. I couldn't keep going." And there's no harm, no foul in doing that. That's honorable. You figured out what you could do. You learned about as much as you could. You advanced as much as you could, and you got out. And when people try to say, "Oh, well, they shouldn't actually get some sort of free money," well, I've been through DC. I've been through Baltimore. I've been through Richmond. I've been there all those places several times, and I've seen a lot of people who are ended up getting free money from the government, and ain't nobody saying boo about that. So if you really want to complain about people who serve the country honorably, did you a service, and allowing you to have the rights and protect the rights that you enjoy of being able to defame and scream at people who actually achieve something that you never will. Shut up. It's not all about you. And if you really got a problem with people getting compensated for the injuries that they sustain while protecting and serving this country, shut up. But all that to say, if you see a vet, tell them thank them for their service. Especially if you see an older vet, definitely thank them for their service because they're the ones who paved the way for us to do it. And if you see an active duty member, tell them also thank you for your continued service. Hope y'all have a blessed day. Have fun. Don't die. Peace.